immediately fixed or changed at that point in time. All right. Then another good thing is that it integrates with multiple other standards. Your ISO 9001 for quality management, ISO 27001 for your information security integration, for your privacy integration, also 27701. Then there's ISO 31000, which is for risk management. So it kind of integrates with these other standards as a whole. It's not just one, it's not just isolated. It's also designed with this element in mind in general, so which is pretty cool. Regulatory alignment, you can agree with me that the EU don't play games. So there's the AI Act, there's GDPR for privacy, there's the NIST AI RMF out there too. Then every nation has its own strategy, depends on the location, even at the state level, sometimes at county level, there are also additional oversight in terms of how AI is going to be used. So just we want to check it out at all times that okay, what are the expectations at the state level, generally at the federal state, even at your county level, sometimes at even your local level. They get so deep at times in some cases. All right. Some other benefits of ISO, of course, for 2001, compliance and efficiency. It's a global recognized AI law, so it's really easy to kind of streamline it together. It's quite innovative. It makes you show credibility and it shows that you are really adopting a top-notch standard out there. Some of the challenges in terms of implementation would be defining your AI scope. Sometimes it could be a little bit tricky on understanding the scope itself. Innovation versus compliance. Sometimes you want to be quick to get to the market and launch product. At the same time, you are thinking of making sure we launch it in a responsible way. Resource constraint, we can agree because it's a new thing. Sometimes there's resource constraint in general. And at times there are complexity in terms of the risk itself. So it's a big one. Additional barriers, sometimes cultural resistance. There's ever evolving landscape and technology out there. At times it's integration complexity. If I'm using old system in my business, it could be a little bit tricky to implement AI model to be monitoring a Windows XP or Windows 93, right? And sometimes you have those in your operation technology world. So how do we integrate a system that is not even compatible to your day-to-day tech with a new technology out there? So that's something to think about in general. Some key implementation roadmap out there. Tonight we'll touch one of them, a gap assessment, defining the scope and the governance in general. Typically, people build like a charter and scope of document. Define a policy, a high level documentation on your policy statement for the need for AI. Then you establish your risk register and mitigation plan in general. You build training, security awareness for your community. Then ultimately, you solid operational procedure and life cycle controls for those model. Then 7 to 10 is really mostly around monitoring. Monitor and improve. You evaluate and keep monitoring the AI model, check your key performance indicators, constantly do an audit, make sure your leadership, you know, reviews the audit result and mitigates any kind of potential risk around it. Then just keep checking for emerging technology and trends and how we can position ourselves with those trends also. Some use case to kind of just get our mind to put this in some interesting perspective. We can think of healthcare, right? A lot of healthcare world right now, they are thinking of a lot of their diagnostic tools, their MRI, CT scan, X-ray machine, right? So they want to make sure, those tools could risk bias and errors that could affect patient if your AI models are really not well trained. Your training data is biased, then that could really impact the quality of health you provide to your patient. Because if I'm training my data based on certain demography or group of people and it's not a well represented metrics, then it means it can tilt my cares, quality of care to certain areas versus other areas. So that's a potential risk. So there's risk assessment of patient safety, explainability requirement for doctors, data governance for sensitive health data also. So we all win if we have good quality data in general. Financial service, we can all agree. How can this be a risk? If you have loan officers underwriting loan and you're now adopting AI, if the model is not trained, it can be biased to certain group of people or poor, people consider poor in terms of their income, right? Then it can lead to bias. So we need to have a very solid mandatory bias testing, fairness review. If you have an AI system processing loan, definitely, or processing any kind of benefit in general, so people will clamor for that because the risk is there that it could, based on the training data, it could be biased to certain set of people. So public sector is a big one also. You can think of it, ethical AI in citizen services like detecting welfare eligibility and tax fraud detection. So now in the public domain, we can always use this model to say, okay, let's say if you've always evaded taxes, that era is, I think, is possibly gone. Because what's going on now is that a lot of tax offices now are using AI models. So if you take a tax break on areas that the model can check your trend, it's easier now to check and detect that this is a potential uh, exaggeration of your income. Or so because the models are well trained and they can use pattern recognition to realize that, hey, this person is actually trying to cheat the system. So I think it's one of the most scary times. Anyone that wants to play that game, they would find out that there are models now analyzing your data. So manufacturing is a big one also. This is good because it can help us to do predictive maintenance. So the robotics can easily come and say, wait a minute, based on this pattern, this particular refinery might need maintenance, or this pipeline might need, say, maintenance or fix. So, which is good. Robotics can kind of, and those models can use our maintenance data to check patterns and make recommendation also. So, in public safety, public works, these are big deal out there today. Retail and education, big one. For retail, you can use it to increase your customer loyalty in general. You can have personalized recommendation. That's why now, if you use TikTok or any of this, e-commerce site, they are so accurate in predicting what you need, what you want. They use mathematical algorithm models to go so deep to the point that they can figure out what you likely need. It's sometimes borderline creepy. Education, of course, the nice thing about this is those models can be adaptive and do a custom learning for people. So you notice sometimes when you do your security awareness campaign or classes now, what they do is that they would make you take the class. In some cases, if you answer some questions, they will just end the training for you because you're good. If you miss a few, it will start generating more questions to adapt and train you on that topic, or kind of give you, you know, more knowledge on that topic because they realize, okay, this person is missing this one. It means they don't have this foundation. So it's kind of, it's tailored to your kind of learning experience, you know. Now, if you notice there's no well orchestrated, tailored learning experience, then it could be a bias. So it could be as a result of bias detection, and that can be a risk for your organization because somebody can file a class action lawsuit just because of that. So in general, the key takeaway, it's for any AI model, we have to think of it from an angle of management focus, your business process in general. You have to think it and say, okay, this is here to stay. We have to have a risk-based thinking. We have to continuously identify, assess, and mitigate any AI-specific risk. And the risks are real. They are constantly happening because I'm telling you, really, some of you have said it. Somebody can clone you. You would never believe this, not you. It's insane. I mean, it will look so good. I saw a few pictures of myself, my team, Gemini on the line, and some other folks. Just you, they will make image of you, and you'll be surprised. Wait a minute, that is me. And honest truth is, you can't even deny it. It will look so much like you. Everything, and that's the real normal now. And now it's getting even more weird because now we can also use your voice recognition voice. So now they can clone your voice for a few. Some of us are also public out there. They can clone your voice and make use your 30 minutes video as a training model, and it will start talking like you. So they'll make you start talking. It's crazy. I mean, there are many tools out there, 11 Lab, quite a number of tools that can do that right now. So it's just the risk is real. So we have to adapt a lot as businesses, as individuals. You just have to adapt, and there should be a way we can get ourselves together. Some general practitioner insight in general, the integration with is essential because you're integrating with other models out there. Continuous improvement is always a big one, and it's a good thing to have a ISO certification in general. Some general overview in terms of the domain area for ISO: governance and leadership, risk management, data management, AI lifecycle, performance evaluation, and training and culture in general.